did you get into expansion so quickly? Because I've known dozens, if not hundreds, of food truck operators, and maybe they have 2 trucks and they're in the same area. And Cousin Maine's Lobster is an example of a bigger franchise, right? That's all over the place, but you guys have like scaled up pretty quickly. So if you're willing to talk about that, that's what I really want to hear about.
For sure. Story starts with hockey. I moved to the United States. I'm from Belgium myself. Same dream. He's from Connecticut. Worked our way up into college hockey, and that both as freshmen got put together in the same dorm. Naturally, teammates, became friends very quickly, and that's how we met. Now, the idea to start a business was always something in my head, whatever it might have been, until one of our freshman classes at school was a fictional, creating a fictional business. Okay, created a waffle truck, and thought, okay, well, we've done all this work now. Why not try it? If it works, great. If it doesn't, it looks good on the resume. Got some experience. Billy was all for it, and so we tried it. We drove to Virginia to pick up a van, an ice cream van. Turned it into our very first waffle truck in 2021, and yeah, we started selling at the school and in the area. Obviously, the goal was one day to have multiple, but that's where that started.
And were you still college students in 2021, or was that
Yes,
after?
yes. So it started the summer of 21-22. That would be the summer going into our junior year.
Yeah, that's impressive. So you did it while you were full-time students to get started, and then
Yes.
Multiple trucks. What was the first year that you branched into having a second truck in another market?
Yep. So the second truck came 2022, the spring of. We moved one to Chicago, and Billy's brother, still with us, helped us do that. He ran that truck. He moved all the way out to Chicago, went through, all the inconveniences, all the downtimes, all the starting a business related tasks, and then set it up in Chicago, which I guess was the foundation of where we are now.
Is that what you consider your headquarters now, Chicago? I feel like
yes. So at this point, we've been able to grow to many more trucks, a little bit all over. But our headquarters, or our support team, we call it, is stationed in Chicago.
And how many trucks do you guys have now?
Today we are at 16 trucks, and we're looking to keep growing, of course.
And that was 16 or 60, just so I'm hearing correctly.
16. Sorry.
16, yeah. No, that's totally
one day
fine.
We'll get to 60, but not yet.
It can sound the same on a call like this, so I just wanted to make sure if anyone watches that we're clear. And you're in several different markets too, right? The Southwest, is that right? And
yes. So we have a couple in Boston. We are still in Pennsylvania, of course. We have also opened a brick and mortar in Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Oh,
we are in the Midwest, a little spread out, naturally in Chicago. We are in Phoenix. We are in Charlotte. We had some in Texas, in Virginia, but we've had to move them around. Things happen.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So you have had some experience where a location didn't work out, and you had to reconsider. Yeah, that's pretty normal. I've been the same in my career. So I never got outside of Western Pennsylvania, but I had 4 brick and mortar restaurants and 2 food trucks over the years. And for being candid, it's a success just to run it and not lose money, right? Like I made a living for a long time. I don't know that I became very wealthy, and then I sold my business and I had no debt to pay off. And like that puts me in like, I don't know what percentage, but like the top percentage of people who try this sort of thing.
I'm
so
sure
that you guys have done this so quickly is really impressive to me and caught my attention. Certainly, most people I know just give up when things aren't going well, and like in my own career, certainly there are times where you want to do that, but just to your point about having a location that didn't work out, I think the worst thing you can do when that happens is just give up. It's kind of like a sports game. You've got to you've got to stick with it until you find like the path out.
For sure.
That doesn't mean
for us at the time, since we were still in college. We were still in college, we basically had 2 free years, so to say. If it didn't work out after those 2 years, then okay, we would have had our degrees. Well, or we have our degrees, but we would have gone on and done something else. And so it didn't have to, take off from the start.
Right.
But then once we moved into Chicago and we handcuffed ourselves a little bit by moving into Chicago so quickly, now it had to work. Because now it's not just 2 guys in college trying to make some money to go to the bar. We have someone who's supposed to pay rent and all that. And then today, I mean, we're in way too deep. If it doesn't work out in Texas, we can't just say whatever.
Right, yeah. Well, that's my experience, right? Like you remind me of me in some ways, just because I opened my first restaurant when I was 23, and it was
awesome.
Way back in 2004. So food trucks were not as big of a thing, and I got my first truck in 2010. And for me, that was like one of the best business decisions I ever made, because it was a moving billboard for me. I was the first truck in the Pittsburgh market that was moving around. There are a few at the college campuses that stayed still, and I was a truly mobile operation. I was cooking on site, which was all new for the market. It had been happening on the West Coast. It really helped me. It helped me get my SBA loan. And my most well-known restaurant in the region was a 90-seat bar and restaurant with table service, even though we did hot dogs and poutine primarily. And we developed a big vegan crowd, and it was great. And what I was alluding to, the pandemic obviously changed a lot. I had a death in my family, and I decided I wanted to sell. And there's nothing wrong with deciding you want to get out. But so many people I know just stop. And stop. Like I have a friend who operated a great mac and cheese truck. The pandemic hit, he stopped. He still has it. He's just sitting on it. But he's in construction now. And the business loses so much value. And like some of the advice I offer to people when I'm consulting is just like, yeah, you don't want to get in over your head, but at a certain point you take the plunge. Like I had a huge SBA loan, and like if I had just stopped, I would have owed so much money to the bank and my investors. And it takes some persistence. It's kind of like being a grinder on the third line in hockey terms, right? Like you gotta sometimes and like get through. I don't know if our audience will understand that, but you and I understand that, like the hockey reference. But there's a time, like there's a number, right? There's a number you want if you're selling your business, and that maybe it's a dream, and maybe you get there, and there's like a number that works for you where you're gonna like at least make yourself whole. And then there's a number.
Makes sense,
yeah, there's a number that maybe you just have to accept because you can't keep going or whatever else it is. And I think too many people decide they can't keep going when they can, and you just. Like it took me like 3 or 4 years to find the right buyer for my restaurant. And then I sold things in pieces because it made more sense. But that's more about me. As far as you guys go, it's a very cool story. You mentioned coming to the USA for hockey. Was that before you were in college? Were you here playing?
So I played hockey in Wisconsin initially. Okay. There's this thing called junior hockey. It's kind of between high school and college. To get recruited to a college team, play juniors in Wisconsin and New Jersey, then finally get recruited to play in Pennsylvania, which is where I met Billy. Throughout the college career, one too many concussions kind of sealed my fate. But at that point, we had already started the waffle truck.
Yeah, so, that makes sense. Man, I only played the game at like a low beer league level. I think I told you when I met you, and like I know a lot about hockey, and I have respect for anyone who can play at a high level, because the toll it takes on your body, it is rough.
For sure,
it's a great game, but I only started playing in my 30s, and I'm 44 now, and I know some 70-year-old men in beer league. They still play 2 or 3 nights a week, and I understand it's not like rough, hard contact hockey, but like it still takes a lot out of you. And like I stopped playing.
Yeah, you're using everything. You're
my
using your legs, your upper body, your core.
Arthritic now, but yeah, there's nothing like a hockey workout. Just going back to the bench.
For sure, not.
trying to figure out how to like stay in shape the way I was when I was just playing like recreational hockey. But as far as your menu goes, do you guys exclusively serve waffles? I'm guessing if the name Waffle Truck, it's pretty focused. And like, how important do you think that is for your success, your streamlined menu?
Yep, for sure. So the core and the center of what we do is waffles, right? As far as food is concerned, everything is always the waffle as a base layer. And then we have different types of toppings between sweet and savory toppings. That means chicken and waffles, but that also means sauces, spreads like Nutella, peanut butter, fruits, strawberries, bananas, blueberries, etc. Different types of cookies, sugars, and people get to make their own. So it's a interactive experience, we like to call it, where people paint their own waffle picture by choosing whichever toppings they like. The trucks are built. We build them ourselves, which is personally, and I know Billy says the same, the most fun part of the business.
Okay.
Is building the trucks, but we build them ourselves. We think we have found the perfect build out size for our waffle trucks to make sure it goes very quickly. It's a one person job, most shifts. We can serve a lot of waffles in a short amount of time. So yeah. Additionally,
do you know?
Sorry?
Oh, I just said, do you know what your ticket time is on average from like when someone orders to when they get their food?
That I do not. I would have to get back to you on that, but I know the record right now, which was Billy's brother, is 156 waffles in 1 hour as a one person job.
So you do kind of know. That's less than
I guess whatever that number is. But that's the record. That is not someone trained for 5 days and then coming in and doing it. That is a seasoned veteran who's done everything.
Of course. And like your truck, you guys have made a specific decision to use trucks rather than trailers, it sounds like. Is that right?
Yes. If we want to roll this out, either we would and be more than just ourselves, either we would have to supply everyone with a car to tow a trailer, or we'd have to ask the local manager to offer up their car for a job, which I don't know if we would be able to do that. But
sure.
Yeah, we have trucks.
That makes a lot of sense. I just know the trend that I'm seeing, a lot of people are choosing trailers over trucks. I only ever had trucks, and the argument for trailers is that they're less expensive for build out, and that if something breaks down, you can get another tow. I never really had trouble with so my first food truck was just the cheapest one I could afford. I had some trouble with that one, but it was very, very used, and it got me started. And my second truck was a custom build. It was a used body frame. It was, I think, 8 or 9 years old, but it was well taken care of, and then I maintained it, and I never really had the breakdown problems. I always thought, just like from a branding standpoint, a truck looks a little cooler, but I had not thought about the idea of expansion. How do you equip someone to hit the ground running without expecting them to use their personal resources? That makes a lot of sense. That's a great insight.
Yeah, I feel like that would just not be a model that we could expand. Unless you get into franchising, might be a different story because it would be their own. But if there are, might be tough.
As far as your supply chain, like you are getting your waffles from Belgium, right? And I assume you've known someone for a long time if you're from Belgium, or how did that work? Did you just go home and like figure it out?
All right. So again, waffles is our core. Initially, we made them ourselves, but now rolling them out nationally to keep the portion sizes, the quality, etc., the same everywhere, as well as making the job itself as easy as possible. We get them pre-made from there. At this point, we have some investors who own a manufacturing plant who are specialized in waffles, and they supply us.
But that's from Belgium as opposed to the stateside, right?
Yes.
From what I read on your website, that's pretty cool. And then as far as the what should we call them, like the secondary ingredients, like you mentioned, the chicken and like fruits, whatever you have, do you, each location that you set up in a new market, do you reinvent that supply chain, or do you have a distribution system in place for those items?
So there's two parts of that. There is all kinds of supplies, so cups, plates, things that we like to have branded. We're working on that, but that will come centrally from Chicago. Everything else would be local. Yes.
Gotcha. And have you ever run into a situation? This might be very specific to my county in Pittsburgh, Allegheny County, but the health department does not want any single person working on the truck. They want two people. I don't think you would
That
get.
we have not yet.
Yeah, I don't think it would be a problem. So they require here that one person on the truck be food safe certified. Basically, what's the test called? Serve safe, if you've heard of that. So it's just like, about temperature and hot holding and that sort of thing. So one person on the truck is supposed to be certified in that. And then their concern is that one person shouldn't be handling both food and money or credit cards. I think you mentioned that. Do you only do private events? Is everything prepaid, like for efficiency?
That's our goal.
Yeah,
that's our goal. I imagine most trucks have that as a goal. It's at least we found that's where the money's at. You know what you're going to make, easier to budget, easier to expand based on projections, etc. But we don't only do it because we need to fill up the schedule. And when it's January now, not too many people are getting married in January, for example. So it's just less private events. So we do public events as well. But we've never run into that issue. It's honestly the first time I hear about it. But it's good that we know that now.
It's good to be aware of. Yeah, I mean, truthfully, I never ran into it either. I was just on the food safety advisory board in my county, and that's the only reason I know that rule. I've never heard of a health inspector calling someone out about it, but I also know it was a new rule that they started in maybe like 2021 or 2022, and I don't really see the point. Like, I have done a few solo food truck shifts myself, and with my concept, it was pretty difficult. Like, it was never intentional, and I could be way more efficient with a second person, right? And like, it made sense from a monetary standpoint to have two people because I would turn out that much more food with a second person in an hour, so it would pay for itself. But every once in a while, I'd get like left high and dry, and there'd be someone who couldn't make it because they were sick or whatever else, and I'd be stuck doing it my own. And it was a lot, but I think I found a way to do it in a totally sanitary manner. So like, I'm not sure that this is something that exists outside of my county, but I was just curious, since you're expanding and you are a one-person operation as far as a single shift, if you've run into that at all, and if you ever do you think your model would still make sense with a second person, or would that disrupt everything to the point where you wouldn't want to do it?
I have to redo some prices, of course. That second person needs to make some money as well. But yeah, we do shifts for two people if they require certain output. But we right now base it on it being a one-person job.
Gotcha. And then when I met you at the convention, you guys had a booth because you were selling some sort of, not even selling, if I remember you right, you're giving it away, right? But like some sort of software that you've developed.
Yep.
I didn't get to talk to you about that very much, but tell me what it does and how you see it benefiting other food truck operators.
For sure. So when we were, set on rolling out at a decent pace, thought to ourselves, how are we ever going to manage this scheduling, accounting, everything? Because I imagine the same as other food trucks are juggling between spreadsheets and pen and paper, different subscriptions on different platforms, etc. How can we put this all together? Looking for something, and we cannot find anything that would work for us. Sure, Toast does this, and Clover does that, and QuickBooks does that, but it doesn't. It's not everything. So we built something for ourselves to make sure it works for us. Exactly what we need, no more, no less. Used it for about 6-7 months at this point, and Yeah, we decided to open it up to other food trucks. We just like it that much. At the expo, we were opening it up for free. I
Hmm.
have to sadly say that that has changed by now.
I would
We've been
assume.
told to show that it has value, which
Mhm.
it certainly does, that we have to charge for it. Not
And what?
necessarily, we sell waffles. We don't sell software. We're a
Yeah.
waffle company. We don't need to get rich off of selling software. But to keep people engaged and put in efforts to build out their profile and keep using it, we have been advised to charge for it.
Understood. What is it called?
Currently, a subscription is $79 per month.
Hmm.
Now, what we like is it takes away all other subscriptions.
Sure.
You get rid of your QuickBooks. You get rid of your anything that you potentially are paying a subscription for. It takes care of your scheduling. It takes care of your staff, your payroll, it sends invoices. People can pay invoices through it. Keeps track. It's my favorite part. Keeps track of all the event data. So
Hmm.
that event made that much and cost that much. That event did that and that. You keep track of the contact info of that event. You know which ones to go back to next year, which ones you want to stay away from. You know who to reach out to at the beginning of the year. We just reached out to all our previous contacts who are in there, and their schedules are filling up very quickly now. So everything there is to manage on a food truck, it does. And what we like is every time we are coming up on something new and we are about to create a spreadsheet for it, we
Hmm.
say, okay, well, step back. How can we implement this into the platform?
Sure. What is the name of the product? Like, do you have a name for it or a
Yep.
website that is it?
So when we open it up for others, we started calling it Bite Buddy. Website is bitebuddy.tech. You can download it on your phone. Yeah, very convenient.
Yeah. Does it also manage inventory at all?
Yep.
I'm assuming we haven't talked about it. So, and then from what you were saying, it's a POS system as well. Like if it's replacing Toast.
We are going, or we're planning on implementing it to a
Okay.
POS system.
Then
Then it would be a full circle thing.
do one or both of you have a background in like software development? Like, if you did this yourselves, how did that come about?
Well, we had it done for us.
You had it outsourced. Okay, that makes sense. But you're happy with it, yeah.
Yes, very.
Then another thing that I think, just drawing from my own experience, that was hard to keep track of, like a lot of the calendaring I did with Google Calendar, and I had a lot of success with that. But the idea of going to one place is appealing. But what I hated keeping up with was just like customer reviews and all those different places, whether it's Yelp or I don't know if Foursquare exists anymore, but for a while it did. And then people are pinging you on Instagram and Snapchat and Facebook, and different demographic groups use these different products, but everybody eats. And then you're getting emails, and like I always thought it'd be amazing if there was somehow software that just put everything, every means that someone was trying to get in touch with me into one place. So it's like I could just look at one inbox and manage it all. I think that would be amazing. I don't know if that exists right now, but
that not yet, but it's a good update.
Yeah,
it's great.
Certainly, I know AI has a lot to do with responses now, and that was just kind of becoming a thing when I sold my business. But I believe it can be pretty helpful because, like, ideally, right, you want to, even the good reviews, you want to make people feel like they're being heard, and it's great to like have a touch point with them. But like, if you get to a certain size, which I think you guys are already at, and I certainly was, it's unrealistic to think you're gonna just keep up with everybody who's trying to say something to you from every corner of the internet, plus your face-to-face customers. And I guess if you have a corporate office, it can help with that. But even then, it's a daunting task. So managing that, I think, is a huge part of ongoing success. So that's pretty cool. And Bite Buddy spelled BITE, right? Not BYTE.
BITEEUDDY.
Yep. .tech. Got it. Yeah. I'm pretty interested in playing with that sometime, even though I don't have a need for it. But I'm curious to see what it does. And I mean, if it does everything you're talking about, it's certainly a pretty good deal, even at $79.99 per month, right? Like my QuickBooks cost.
Exactly. We used to pay for HoneyBook. That's what we used, which was more than this subscription, but it only did it only did half barely anything of what we need. Yeah. Each of our staff members have the platform on their phone. So they know what their shifts are like. They know the details of the shifts, where they need to go. The address connects to their map, so it brings them there right away. They give feedback on the event. They can input pictures of the event, so you keep generating content that then our support team can use for all kinds of marketing. And then on the management side of things, it allows you to collaborate with other food trucks, pass on events, kind of tag each other along, kind of you help me, I help you deals.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's a big part of what I did too, right? Like here, at least in Pittsburgh, and I imagine other places, there are private food truck like Facebook groups that are just for people to do exactly like that. You say like, hey, I can't make this event, like, you know, something came up in my personal life, does anyone want to cover for me? So to have that, that's a pretty valuable tool. Does it, with its scheduling, does it have any public facing ability, so that like so what I did with Google Calendar, which took a little work, but I had an event and it was just like you were talking about. So like I'd have notes, and then I'd invite my employees to be able to see the notes about like what to expect to do. And then I'd make a second event that was just the serving hours, and it would automatically populate to my website. And I don't know how many people are actually looking at websites these days for information. I think it's changing where it's more social media, but nonetheless, if you have a website, like I figure like, why not have your schedule up there? If you have public events, and yeah, if it could do that, that would be pretty great. And on the accounting side, does it have any integration with like bank accounts? So with QuickBooks, I had I don't know what level of service I had, but I was able to connect my business bank account, and it would take care of a bunch of transactions automatically. So I wouldn't have to do it. Is your software able to do that, or might it be able to in the future?
So on the accounting side right now, how it keeps track of true data. Financial side of things, it has a receipt scanner that you either take a picture or upload a picture. Takes down all the items that you purchased. You put in how many servings that is used for, and it kind of learns that over time as well. So it knows what one serving on average costs. You do the event. On one side, you put in an expected number of servings. So on a private event, if you know you're getting booked for 100 servings, you put in, you know, you're expecting to purchase 100 servings. But then the event gets done, your staff member is able to give feedback. They might have only served 80. And so it pumps out a number of the food costs for that event. As far as the projection side of things, it projects how much you're going to make in the future, which you can base decisions off of. So it knows you're going to serve 100 servings. It knows your serving cost. It knows that you're about to spend that much money on that event. Getting into travel costs, it knows, which you build out your profile. It knows how much your truck is worth because you put that in. So it depreciates that automatically. It knows how many miles you're going to travel because it knows your home base address as well as the address of the event. So it knows, travel costs. It takes care of the average gas cost of wherever your truck is. So it like,
how about
each event has travel costs associated with it that are full circle.
Do your trucks use propane?
Ours don't, but you can also implement propane use or for your generator, gas use for an event. So if it knows that if the event is 3 hours, you've spent that much on propane. It knows if the event is 5 hours, you've spent that much on gas on the generator and so forth.
Gotcha. So am I right to assume that you have, obviously you must have refrigeration in your truck and some equipment, so everything is electric? Is that accurate with your model?
For ourselves, yes.
Okay, gotcha. As far as like, it sounds very detailed on the cost side of things. On the revenue side, I guess is what I was getting at. Like, do you track revenue through it too? Do you hand enter it, or like what I was saying with QuickBooks? I was able to just have all my credit card transactions import directly from my bank account, so the money hits my bank account, and then it would talk to
Yep.
QuickBooks and be there, and that was really
So
nice.
right now you hand enter it. So the way it works, there's in the food truck world, there's two types of events.
Mhm.
An event where people purchase individually. That includes a street shift. That includes selling at an apartment building. That includes a festival, right? People purchasing individually. Second type of event is some kind of private event where an organization covers the total.
Right.
On the private event side, you know what the number is going to be that you charge. You send the invoice through the platform. The platform knows this event will have made me $1,200. Okay, so revenue we're talking. On the public event, the staff member after the event gives feedback. That includes a score. How did it go for them? That score can be anything, however your organization sets it up. But was it easy to park? Were the people friendly? Was the organization, done well? Basically, it helps in deciding do we want to go back or not. But they
Mhm.
also put in, because it's not yet connected to a POS, they also put in a revenue.
Okay, that makes
That's
sense.
just quickly looking at your POS. Okay, we made $500. Types in $500. Then now the event knows you revenue 500. The costs were this food cost, that travel costs, this staff cost. That event we netted. Let's call it $200. Do we want to go back or not? That's then for the organization to decide, but it keeps track of that.
That's nice. So yeah, I heard you say not yet connected to POS. So it sounds like you have plans to keep developing
Working
things.
on it.
Yeah. It sounds like it has a lot of potential. I know one competitor in that space called Jolt Up is the website, JOLTUP, but like the software is just called Jolt. I don't think it handles any of the accounting stuff you're talking about, but it does enable you to like communicate and take pictures with your staff and have them kind of prove you've done things. Someone else is actually pushing it at the convention and acting as if it was new, but it's definitely been around for a long time. I remember being pitched for it maybe like 8 years ago. And there's also Slack, of course, is like a communication tool that some organizations use, but I don't know anyone who's offering exactly what you're talking about. And simplicity.
Yeah, Slack, we've used it before for, internal communication, but
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't. It's not everything for food trucks.
Right. Yeah.
And that's been our problem is use Slack, use Honeybook, use QuickBooks, and still have to come up with Google Sheets. And before you know it, you've got 4 subscriptions that you're each paying $60 a month. And
Yeah.
okay, Slack itself doesn't cost that much, but it's the total package that you're paying for. And that's kind of for ourselves what we wanted to replace. And we believe that, I don't know how to say it in English, but the proof is in the pudding. If there was something out there, we would have just bought a subscription and not spent all that money to build something for ourselves.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And I think as you grow, if you're a one truck operator listening to this, and you don't have to be as big of a footprint as you guys, you could, just like I did, have multiple locations in a single region. It gets harder and harder to manage all this because you can't be everywhere at once, and the software that you're talking about becomes more important. So it might benefit you at the single location or single food truck level, and it might be worth it to you. But as soon as you have 2 locations, I think that's where this kind of thing really can make a big difference in how you operate and managing your own time effectively. So
we've said it ourselves. Would we have subscribed to this when we had 1 truck? And the answer, and obviously don't want to sound too much selling this, but the answer is yes, 100%. Why? Well, we were subscribing to QuickBooks when we had 1 truck.
Right.
So I could have swapped that and more. So yeah, I think it works for everyone. Whether you're in the truck yourself, whether you're in a fancy office with 100 trucks, we truly believe in this.
And stand your reservations about not sounding like a sales pitch, but I'm just curious, right? Like the way it's structured now, if you do have multiple locations, is it still $79 a month, or is it like
Yes.
tier anyway, where the price?
Again, we are not looking to scrape every last dollar out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
The only reason we put a dollar amount on there is because we were advised to. So we said, all right, let's slap something on there, and then that's that.
No, it makes sense. Like, because sure, like at the convention, I saw it, and I didn't get to talk to you in this depth about it, but it was like curious, like, oh, why is it free? You're just like really nice guys, and you feel like, oh, and that may be true, but like, you know, the world doubts that when it hears that story. So
No, yeah. And why was it free? Well, obviously nothing in life is free, but the way we looked at it is, okay, if in the city where we are there's a burger truck that is managed a little bit better, and if that school hires that burger truck and they have a little better experience because it's managed better, that school will hire a food truck in the future, and that might be one of our waffle trucks. And so we would get more business if your truck was a little better, if that makes sense. And that's kind of how we saw a little benefit from this, to sharing it for free. But
absolutely, and I
people
appreciate
tell us put some dollar amount on there, and so we did.
Yeah, fair enough. I appreciate the collaborative mindset you have with it, just for the reason you explained, and also, as you mentioned before, your ability to communicate directly with other food truck operators through the platform is pretty cool. If you need to sub out someone else to do an event and that sort of thing. And in my own experience, just organically, one of my favorite parts about being a big part of the Pittsburgh food truck community was that we all liked working together. And there were a lot of events where like 3 or 4 food trucks would show up, and they were big enough that we would all do better at those events than if I was just doing a one-off. And then you get to know people. Actually, like one of my buddies that used to own a food truck is helping me tile my bathroom shower right now, because, you know, that's the kind of friendships you make. And I don't know that that is typical of all types of business. In fact, I'm going to say it's not. Certainly, like my restaurant experience isn't like that, where you know, you might meet some other people who own restaurants, but like you're in competition and you don't really get to know one another. With the food truck, you're in competition, but you're also benefiting, to your point, when everyone provides good service. Because of the mobile nature, someone else might where you are tomorrow, and like in the mind of the consumer, they're just kind of lumping food trucks together as one thing. And if everybody is reliable, it's better for all of us.
Sure.
So you make friends, and like you're in competition, but you're also there to help one another. And I thought maybe that was unique to Pittsburgh, but as I meet more people with what I'm doing now all over the country doing food trucks things, I think that's the vibe as a whole that the food truck community creates. So it's nice to see some software that's honoring that from my perspective. So good for you for recognizing that.